birdies, I'm Sunshine Flying, you can call me Tia, and today we are doing another shell challenge. You all know that I love me a good shell challenge, and this one was definitely a challenge. If you are active on Twitch, especially in a lot of the same pockets and channels that I am, you are familiar with Nicole E88, conductor of the Hot Mess Express. Super fun channel to watch. She loves to vibe and thrive, and you probably, if you know who she is, it rings a bell by now. And so she had this awesome shell challenge. She loves her chickens, and so it is a chicken shell challenge. Now, I genuinely did not think I could do this, to be completely honest with you. It's a chicken and an egg, and I was looking at it like, oh my gosh, how in the world am I going to do this and make it look like a real house? Like, it's gonna look like a chicken. So one of the first thoughts I had was to turn the space between the chicken and the egg into a kind of courtyard, which eventually, with all that open space, I probably could have gone Courtyard Oasis since the kit just came out, but I actually decided to go with a courtyard pool. So here I am kind of putting that in here, and I'll keep coming back to the pool periodically throughout the build to just add a little bit more or do a little bit more. The other thing I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do is roof the thing, and we'll have our own little struggle bus when we get there. We weren't on no Hot Mess Express on this video, we were on the struggle bus, and it was headed downhill fast. But we got it figured out, and I'm actually really, really impressed with myself with how I ended up turning this into a home. There's tons of decking, which I don't usually do, but I had so much fun putting in and played with a lot of lattice work, some wraparound porches, and so my ultimate test on whether or not this actually looked like a chicken when I was done was actually last night. I brought my husband in, and I renamed it so it didn't say Chicken Shell Challenge up at the top, so it wouldn't give it away or anything. And I brought him in, and I was like, okay, I want to show you what I built. And as I was going, I was like, does it look weird? Does it look like anything? Does it look familiar at all? And he was like, those things out front look like chicken legs, but that's all. And I was like, okay, what does the house look like? And he's like, a house. And it took him forever to realize it was a chicken when I was done with it. So I considered that a success. And I hope you all like it. And I know a lot of you kind of embrace the chickenness and just let that chicken show. I took the challenge as a how much of this can I do? And how can I make this house look not like a chicken, you know? And have it be almost like a hidden feature of the house. So, I had to play with it a lot, and I think the roofing and the decking definitely help. But honestly, I want this house just so I can hang out at the pool. I mean, let's be real here. The pool, the finished product of the pool, I am so ridiculously proud of. So I hope when we get to it that you like it. As you can see here, I am still struggling with this roof like no one's business. But I did want it to be kind of that thatched roofing. I definitely built it in the wrong world. I definitely think this would fit in better in Oasis Springs or maybe even Selva Dorada, Sulani for sure. I just think it would belong somewhere a little less suburban and a little more tropical. But right now, my default when I'm building is to just go to Newcrest and just see what happens. So also started adding in some pillars here and there, finally kind of got the roofing figured out, and so it's definitely going to inspire some more deck work, and yeah, so I built this home. The more I got going with it, the more I was like, I think a gardener lives here. I think whoever lives here just loves greenery. And so I really tried to embrace that kind of very green, very outdoorsy vibe. And it's definitely probably a single sim, maybe a child-free couple, but I would not say this home is meant for sims with kids. This home is meant for sims who want like the popularity, they want to throw parties. Like, this is definitely not built for families, it's built for entertaining. But that being said, it is like the most incredible entertaining house that I've ever built. And I tried a lot of new techniques, and I think part of that is just because of how the house was structured and shaped. So thank you, Nicole and company, for that. It is a 1-bedroom, 3-bathroom, which when I showed my husband and told him that, he thought I was insane for doing that. But here's the thing. There's a private ensuite for the 1-bedroom. There is a bathroom for guests in the main house, and then there is a separate bathroom that you can only access from the outside of the main house. So you can either get into it, you can only get into it basically from the pool area, which also means it's easily accessible from the little hut out back, which will become the greenhouse. There's a lot of like futzing with trim here, you'll see too. I do a lot of little messing around, which this is probably one of the more in-depth builds I've ever done, and probably one of the longest videos on my channel right now. But that being said, it was super, super fun. Definitely a challenge. I've definitely done a bunch of different building methods that I haven't done in a while, or ever really. So, thank you so much for that, Nicole. And yeah, so we're just kind of putting in more lattice work. I decided to wrap this whole porch around. And we're kind of just putting that roofing trim on. I really went with like the black and white on a lot of what I was doing already. But when I add in the wallpaper, I am going to add a little bit more color, make it a little more lively, and just, you know, try to brighten it up a little bit more besides the pool area. So, and I did end up going with a slightly darker roof pattern, and then I also, like with every flat or platform roof that I do, I did the brushed metal flooring. So here we are now, just adding a little bit more color. So I did that sleek black up top, and then I did the stone on the bottom. I thought the stone really worked well. I could not get the stone to go on both sides of these little small half walls, the chicken feet. I could not get it to work, no matter how many times I quit the game, saved, you know, all of that, nothing worked. So there's only stone on certain sides of the chicken feet, so I apologize for that. I couldn't get it, but if you can get it, more power to you. So this bathroom here that I'm working on is the one off the pool. Now I want to add that last night after I showed my husband, he was like, well, that one should probably have like a pool shower, because I hadn't added one. So actually I scooted the door over and stuck the pool shower in the other corner. So it's not actually in this build, because I added it after he'd given me all this feedback, and I'd done a lot of the recording already. But when you download it from the gallery, that'll be there, so, or it should be. But if not, there is a spot in that bathroom to add just like the university, like basic shower, so that anyone who does use the pool can like spritz off if they want to, clean themselves off. And then we had the full bathroom off the master bedroom, and then we had just that half bath accessible from the main area of the house. I tried to use a little bit more color too, tried to use some pieces that I hadn't used before. This bedroom shape was definitely a challenge, but I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. I very rarely do angled beds in bedrooms, so this is new, but your sim should be able to walk through there. And then I sized down the side tables, and so I'm just going to spend a little bit of time here fiddling with getting the lamps at the right level, because I've learned that if you size down the table, the lamp still will like snap to the spot where the full-size table should be. It does not snap to where the sized down table is. So you have to alt place the lamps and anything else you want on the side tables, and raise them manually if you want them to appear on the sized down side tables. So it's a little bit of extra work, but for me it's totally worth it, just because I prefer the side tables sized down because they are so freaking huge, like unnecessarily huge. I also really love that grass, and so you can see I put some of it by the window, and I'm actually going to change it and put a bunch of it along all the windows to give just a little bit of privacy from the pool area into the master. You can still see in, but yeah, I'll just put, I end up putting those grass planter boxes in all of the windows facing the pool. So just a nice little greenery touch. Like I said, this home is probably for someone with a green thumb, someone who really likes plants a lot. But if your sim is not that kind of a sim and they really just want to be like the party person or, you know, popular, you can also, you know, not go ahead, like, use that kind of like plot point or part of the build. It can just be decoration there. So here I am like sprucing up the pool a little bit. I have not play tested this pool with these lights here. I don't think it should get in the way, but that string of lights closest to the diving board might be a problem. So if so, you can get rid of those lights. There's still the lanterns at the top of the posts, so it should still work out okay. Here in the kitchen, I also tried something that I've never ever done before, but am very pleased with how it turned out. So I don't know if this is true for wherever you, the watcher, live, but here we have a lot of homes that have upper cabinets and countertops, and then it's like space between them, like a bar. And I really, for the longest time, have wanted to try to imitate that in The Sims. So when I saw this little like bird wing part of the build, I was like, you know what, I've got to find a way to do that. And I wanted to put up those panels in the back because you can see kind of like the hardware where the cupboards hang. I don't know if you caught that. So I played with pillars and I played with those just like blank sign blocks. And I'm actually very, very happy with how this turned out. And so I used spandrels, so the wall is technically still there. And there's not many rules on this build anyway. But I'm very, very happy with how that turned out. And then I just used that little tail nook as a like broom corner. And then I'll extend the kitchen over here. So this is actually the strangest kitchen I have ever built. But when I showed my husband, he was also saying, you know, it looks like the kind of home where you'd entertain a lot of people. So all in all, I think it turned out really, really nice. I'm really happy that I got those hanging cabinets to work the way I wanted them to. And I think it looks nice. The pillars go through the counters, and, you know, I've seen homes like that before. It's not totally absurd or unheard of. So I like how it turned out. I am really curious what you think, so please do drop in the comments what you think of this new kitchen style attempt that I did. If you like it, I might incorporate it into more of my builds in the future. Otherwise, I might do it, I might not. We'll see. I added a bit of stonework in here too to make it a little more interesting, and some stucco on the walls. And actually, since that bar countertop area is so close to the door, I'm actually going to end up putting a dining table behind the kitchen bar instead of between the bar and the front door, since there is so much space by that stone wall. But first, I really wanted to try the sectional sofa, and so we put a little sectional there with a TV on the back side of that cabinet. And I really love how this turned out. I think it's the perfect place to entertain. I am realizing now, though, that I wanted this to be like a party and entertaining place and not put a bar in. So, kind of kicking myself for that. I just realized it now, but you know what? It's easy enough to add when you get it from the gallery. You can customize it to whatever you want it to be. And yeah, I think I am really happy with how this turned out. I know I keep saying that, but I tried a lot of different methods, tried to make sure there was still a bunch of stuff in there for skill building, like books, the kitchen, there's swimming, there's plenty of stuff for gardening. I put a flower arranging table out in the hut, we'll see that soon, and put in a bunch of new paintings, plus the sectional and the rug, and I think that coffee table as well from the new set. And as we move outside here, I put even more greenery. Like I said, this place is definitely a place for a sim who loves their greenery, they love their decorations, and they love their entertaining. So just putting a whole bunch of stuff in here. I kind of went a little crazy and had to remind myself, the Sims still have to be able to walk through. So, but just making the way around the wraparound porch, got all kinds of trees, and I'm actually going to start now putting, once I get this table out here, we're going to have some greenery up on top of the lattice work that I put on the patio here, which I achieved mostly just by raising up things like moss, flowers, and grass, and you could really do as much or as little as you wanted. You could even get rid of it if you wanted just the clear lattice, or maybe I'll go back to it, I guess. I am furnishing the patios first, just putting out a bunch of seats and some more tables and benches, nice little seating areas pretty much everywhere. So no matter how many Sims are over and doing things, they will have a place to sit, they will be able to swim. It actually looks like I don't do that lattice work for a little while now. So I'm actually going to be filling this little egg-shaped home now with just tons and tons of plants. And the idea being that it's a sort of a greenhouse, and there'll be a separate garden where you can actually grow flowers. I haven't played with the gardening skills yet in the game, so I don't actually know all of the little intricacies of how it all works, but even just visually having a room for that, and have that flower arranging table there. Lots of windows to let the sunlight in. I'm also going to add a broom and a hose, so everything in there can get watered, and just a couple different tables for working on, some seating as well. So just a nice little hobby room, a nice little private place to go to just work on, flower arranging, building up that skill. That could easily be turned into like a home gym or, an artist studio or an office, anything like that. So if your sim, if they have that popularity or they want that, any of those other aspirations, you could easily turn that egg into something else. Just doing a little bit of path work here. Thought about doing some trees, but then I decided to go and work on some other stuff first, because trees, I don't know if you've noticed when you're building, trees can really, really block what you're trying to do. And so I wanted to leave those kind of for last, and I did mess a little bit with the terrain as well. I've been trying very hard to get more comfortable with that. Sometimes I feel like it gets a little bit out of control, or I don't totally know what I'm doing. But I'm happy with how it worked out here. I just wanted it a little bit hilly, a little bit more interesting, and definitely think that was achieved. We're going to add some hanging ferns as well, just make this deck look super tropical, super cozy, kind of private, but not by fencing or anything. The privacy comes more from the plants. So I think it's a nice little cozy space. Got some bushes around the front as well, and I just really love how it all turned out. Like I said, I tried a whole bunch of new stuff, including that lattice work with the plants on top, and I could not be happier with how it all turned out. I was going to do a little fence here just to hide the trash can next to, and then I decided, you know what, if they're a gardener, they should have, planter pots and stuff. So I actually built a little garden here as well. I was a little bummed that the fencing I used didn't actually have doors to go with it, but it is what it is. It's The Sims. We can only get so much out of it, you know. So, but put another hose and some gardening tools there, and now we finally get around to doing some of the landscaping. I tried to stay away from stones and make it a little bit more natural. If you've seen a lot of my other videos where there's a yard, you know that I often go into the stone category and size them down and make nice little trails and trims using that. So I decided against it this time, and left kind of the hills and some of the terrain paint and just a few stray plants to kind of speak for themselves. I did do some raised ground near the garden and around part of the house, but it's all very subtle, and you know, I am really happy with how it turned out, and I'm really curious what you think as well. If you have any tips for me on working with terrain tools, that would also be awesome, because I'm not super familiar with it, and a couple of the times I've tried, I have massively failed. So having some advice would be awesome. And here I'm just kind of finishing up with some terrain paint, and then we're going to hop into the screenshots here. So overall, I had so much fun working on this challenge, and I think in the end you can't even tell by looking at the house that it's the shape of a chicken, and I couldn't be prouder of myself for doing that. That being said, Nicole, what an awesome challenge. Thank you so much for sharing it with all of us. Really, really appreciate that, and I had so much fun doing this, and I really hope that if I don't get to see you touring it, I hope that you really enjoy touring it. If you are interested in downloading this home off the gallery, it is currently on the gallery. My username on there is Sunshine Flying, just like it is everywhere else. Otherwise, I don't really have much else to say about this video, and so I will just leave you with this. I will see you in my next video on Wednesday. Bye-bye.